need a high-end designer or a lot of money to get a luxe look. Be your own interior designer.
This is Affordable Interior Design, the podcast.
Here's your host, Betsy Helmuth.
Chris is writing from Scottsdale, Arizona, and he or she says, Betsy, please help me. My husband and I are moving from a rental into a newly constructed townhome. We'll be able to pick our finishes, including countertops, cabinets, backsplash, and flooring. The space is open concept, and our furniture is neutral with touches of orange and blue. The only problem is that I love my Alexa dining table from West Elm, but it's the honey-colored wood and orange-hued. The choices from our new space, they all seem cool, not warm. I don't want to spend a lot of extra money on upgrading flooring if I don't have to, and I also don't want to buy a new dining table, but I do need your help figuring out what to do. The first pick is our dining table in our rental space, so you can ignore that flooring. The second pick is an inspiration kitchen look. I like the white cabinets, gray quartz countertops, and darker wood look flooring. I think my current table would work in this space. Do you think so? My choices are not exactly the same in the house we are going to buy. The third photo is a mock-up from the builder's website showing the options for the new homes. From the look of it, none of these choices go with my table. I plugged in white cabinets, gray countertops, and all the flooring options are in the photo for you to see. Fired Beauty, Motion Q, Round 2, Sterolino White, Pocono Smoke, and Albero Forista. My question is, would darker wood-like floors look okay with white cabinets and gray quartz countertops from my builder's options photo? And if so, would that work well with the honey-colored Alexa table? If not, would a warmer tile color like the fourth picture work in the space? Or should I just start from scratch? My head is really spinning. Thank you for your help, Chris. Well, Chris, thank you for writing in. My head is also spinning, and it could be the paint fumes. It could be the squirrel pee, or it might just be all the questions in your email. So let's dig in. Without further ado, I'm just scrolling through your pictures. And guys, if you're curious, you can scroll through her pictures at our YouTube page at Affordable Interior Design on YouTube. So looking here, I mean, the builder options look great, and I totally get a sense of your table, the Alexa dining table. Not only is it a honey-colored wood, even the base, even the round top, but also it has somewhat of a rustic finish. So it definitely has differentiation of texture, of tone. I would say it ranges all the way from honey to like a darker walnut in certain veins. Yeah, so we wouldn't call it veins. We'd call it grains. But I'm so fried, guys. Grains, veins. You say tomato, I say tomato. All right, let's go back to the builder options. Now, I don't feel like the architectural woods must match the furniture. I absolutely don't feel like that. I especially don't feel like that in a rental. You know, my last home that I owned had mahogany floors. They were rich, they were herringbone, but they were stained in this very warm, reddish kind of cherry way. And that is not at all my vibe. And it feels a little dated to me. I was not going to invest in refinishing the floors. It looks like they had just done that. But I also didn't want to purchase furniture that aligned with that. It wasn't as dark as you might think, so it was kind of a mid-tone cherry red, and I incorporated mid-tone wood furniture, and I think it worked really well. One of the main reasons it worked really well is that you rarely saw wood on wood. I used a lot of rugs, as I always do, because rugs add that soft texture, they define areas, and they also help to break things up. Because I don't like wood on wood anyway. And so even if your wood table perfectly matched the flooring, it's a lot of dense wood in one area, considering the base is also that same wood tone. I think the way to solve the Alexa dining table problem, no matter what room you put it in, is by using a nice big rug. And you want to make sure that you have 30 to 36 inches to pull out your chair while still staying on the rug. When I have a circular table, I use a square rug. For instance, in my new home, I'm going to have a puzzle table. I'm so excited to have a puzzle table. Like, what? That's exciting. I don't personally ever puzzle, but my husband puzzles and he's been suppressing it because I was like, not on my dining table. I'm not shifting your puzzle every time we want to have a meal. So I'm really excited to get this guy a designated puzzle table. And it is 48 inches round, and I am putting it on an 8-foot square rug. That gives you a sense. Then I'll put the chairs at a diagonal so that they're pulling out on the longest corners and have more room to scoot back as he's puzzling and then running to the kitchen for another diet soda and then puzzling and running to the kitchen for some freshly made popcorn. That's his MO, right? And I put the puzzle table right outside the TV room so he can eat popcorn, drink soda, and build a puzzle while watching his favorite shows. I thought of everything, guys. I've really got my priorities in place. Now, in terms of the builder options, this is a much bigger decision that you should never make based on a dining table because ideally these renovation selections will last much longer than your table will. I hope that you get at least 10 to 15 years of longevity from any renovation selections you make while it's still looking not dated, right? Whereas the dining table might get dings, nicks. 15 years is a long life for a dining table, depending on the age of your children and how hard you puzzle, right? Uh, so, in terms of the builder options, as you may know, if you're a longtime listener to this podcast, absolutely detest white on white on white. I think white on white on white looks like you didn't make a choice. And also, nothing starts to look white because they're never going to be the exact same white. So, one is a little off white, one has a little more gray, one is a little more ecru, and it just looks like a non choice rental white mess. And the other thing I don't love, which I'm not sure I share too much on the podcast because it's been so hot, so trendy, so many people have it, and I don't want to make them feel bad. But personally, gray stained floors, for me, not only are they trendy, I enjoyed them for about 6 months. And then I was like, no, 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 no. They just don't really work for me in terms of easily going with other furniture, easily going with lots of styles. I think it's pretty limiting, pretty trendy, pretty dated, pretty not the best current move. And I know that's controversial, guys. I know. And if you have gray stained floors, don't feel bad about yourself because that is a personal opinion of mine. And this is just a podcast, right? Live your best life. If you like it, it was right for you, right? Right. Okay, great. Because I'm making some really bold choices in my house and I don't care. I am having the deepest purple dining room you ever did see. And right across from it, I have a navy TV room and I don't care. Then the room right next to it, I have trellis wallpaper in a robin's egg blue with a white background. Like, I'm going for it, guys. And does it align with every rule in my book? Maybe not. Am I going to do it anyway? Hell yes. I'm living my best life. You live your best life with your gray stained floors. But, Chris, since you asked, don't do that. Don't do gray stained floors, even though that appears to be several of the selections you've shown me. With a decision as big as a renovation, I really want you to take your time, maybe even consult a professional because there's lots of choices to make from cabinet color to backsplash color to countertop to flooring. And maybe you want the island to be a different color than the cabinets. These are all decisions that need to beautifully go together. You can't fall in love with the countertops and not think at all about the backsplash. And now a lot of my clients also want a different type of countertop on top of their island, which I am currently doing in my kitchen. So if that's something that is appealing to you, you have to be very nuanced with your selections. You have to look at everything as a whole versus looking at them separately to make sure that you're making a look that's cohesive because all these items are one on top of the other. There's no distance, no space. They have to look great. You can't mess up on this one. And I love, love, love my kitchen, but they went countertop crazy. There's butcher block, there's stone at a different height, stone in a different color. So we're going to tone that down. While I have the construction guys in there anyway, it's more affordable to do it now. While I'm living in absolute chaos anyway, might as well just get her done. Well, Chris, while I didn't give you specifics because there are so many options to choose, hopefully I gave you some good direction that will help you feel more at peace with both your dining table and your renovation selections. A big thank you to Aton and the Embassy who wrote our theme song. A shout out to Catherine Heller who owns the podcast shop and is our editor extraordinaire. We also want to thank Ginny Sunasan and her team at the Savvy Podcast Agency for their help with our social, our YouTube channel, and so much more. We also want to thank Uploft, which is our parent company who supports this podcast. And lastly, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to you. Thank you so much for tuning in and for all your support.